I wanted to make a video. I haven't made a video in such a long time because I wanted to share something really beautiful and amazing that's been happening here in Washington. So a lot of the work that I do has shifted since I probably updated you last time. So a lot of people know me as a kind of trauma therapist, and I focus on divorce and relationship trauma and that kind of stuff, but I've been expanding a lot of the kind of trauma work that I'm working on. And I think what I've stumbled into is when people are going through some kind of midlife crisis of sorts, and they're not sure what to do with that, with themselves, and their emotions and kind of thinking process hasn't caught up, and they don't know what to do. And I basically get them unstuck and help them figure out what it is that they're going to be doing to move forward. And I'm working with an amazing entrepreneur here in DC who actually sold her business. And an incredible success story, sold her business for a lot of money. And it's a business that she really loved and she built from the ground up. It was the perfect timing to sell the business, the perfect price. But she was incredibly upset and depressed the minute the sale went through, and nobody could understand, and they're like, what's wrong with you? You're just, ungrateful, or like there's something strange with this. But I really got it because she really misses her business. She really misses doing what she loved, and she feels purposeless, drifting. Suddenly she has no emails in her inbox and nobody needs her. And although everyone she was kind of talking to just thought it was indulgent and she was ungrateful, I really, really get it. And that's the thing, is when you go through a kind of crisis, a lot of people around you are not really going to understand what this crisis is all about. Like, what's wrong with you? Why are you in this like weird place? And you have to honor and listen to how you're feeling, because her situation is very similar to a premier football player that I work with who, top of his game, earning, 100 grand a week or whatever, and suddenly he gets injured and he's out. But, he's a success. He's got more than enough money to live with for the rest of his life. Like, what's wrong with you? Why are you complaining? But he was lost. He didn't know what to do with his days. He didn't have practice. He didn't have anywhere to be or anybody that needed him and his team. It's the same way with, a mum who dedicated her whole life to look after her kids, and the next minute the kids have moved on to university and there's success. You should be celebrating. They've moved on to the next stage of their life. Like, what's wrong with you? And it isn't like that for the mum, because she dedicated her life to her kids, and now she feels a lack of purpose, a lack of meaning. And like last night I went out in DC and I met a guy who doesn't know if he loves his wife anymore, and he's having an affair with somebody, and he's trying to reclaim a piece of himself outside of his relationship. And I really get it. He's trying to figure it out. He's grappling. And the thing is when anytime you go through some kind of experience where people tell you should be feeling a particular way and you're not feeling like that, you need to honor how you're really feeling and stop making yourself wrong for how you think you should be feeling. Just honor how you're feeling. Because when a trauma hits you and you feel bad and you feel like this change and transition is not something that you can be with, that's actually a very real process in the brain. Because when something unexpected happens that feels very emotional, it triggers our amygdala. And our amygdala is the old mechanism in the brain that is trained to make us fight, flee, or freeze. And when we don't know what to do, whether to fight or flee or freeze, and all that adrenaline and noradrenaline is running through the body, our stress levels go up and our body releases cortisol, and the cortisol shuts down the hippocampus in the brain. We can't think straight. You feel a fog. Because if the hippocampus isn't thinking straight, it doesn't tell you what to do next. So you do feel overwhelmed and you do feel a fog, and you have to honor that fog. So there's stages that you have to go through when you're overwhelmed by something. And one of the first stages is when something hits, you feel victimized. Even if society thinks you shouldn't feel victimized, you feel victimized. You feel like something's happening to you. So just like this entrepreneur, she felt like this business has been taken away from me. She forgot that she actually chose to sell the business, and that's okay. It felt like a big thing, like this is happening to me and I don't know what to do with it. The next stage is when you start surviving and coping. That's good, but you can dip in between being feeling victimized and then feeling like you're surviving and coping. What you need to do is start the next part of the journey, which is where you begin the learning. And when you are learning, then you're healing, and then you can get to the kind of victory stage of your journey. But for most of us who are overwhelmed and in that kind of fog where the hippocampus has been shut down, we have learning resistance and learning defiance. And that's when you refuse to accept what has happened, or you refuse to adjust to your life of what's happened. You know, so with this entrepreneur, she's in this massive mansion. I'm here in Rapley Preserve in DC. I mean, this is one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the whole of the United States. It's a massive mansion. It's like the biggest mansion I've ever been in. It's got its own theater. There's a library. I mean, there's so many rooms in the house, you don't know what to do with yourself. And it's empty. You know, she sold her business, created this incredible life now. She won't adjust or accept it. You got to kind of get that's, even if it feels insane, it's a very normal process to have learning resistance and learning defiance when we feel overwhelmed by something. And it doesn't matter if other people think that she should be feeling a particular way or that she's ungrateful. She can't feel it. She doesn't feel integrated. So knowing in your mind that cognitive process, knowing in your mind that you feel a particular way and you feel ungrateful, don't fight it. So we had a beautiful moment this morning. We were doing the therapy that I've created to help people kind of overcome their midlife crisis and accept and integrate their emotions with how they think they should be feeling. It's called perturbation therapy. And in about a 2-hour journey, she jumped into her life 100%. And she jumped out of the couch and just went, oh my God, this is my house. This is my freaking house. Like, this is like where I live now. This is what we created. And she was running, we were just running through this mansion. Every single room and just touching the walls and like running around this incredible like thing that she's created. And she was claiming her house back. She was, oh, this doesn't do. We've got to tear this out, and this bar is ridiculous, and no, I'm not a Broncos fan. This needs to go. And just beautiful watching somebody actually get like, I do have squillions now, and this is my house, and this is what I did, and I don't need to feel guilty, and I will reinvent myself, and I will move to what's next for me, and I will create another business, and I will build what's next. And it's just beautiful when somebody can kind of jump into their new life in that way. So I just wanted to kind of share that experience, because if you're kind of stuck in your life in that place of feeling a bit victimized, or you're in survivor and you haven't fully embraced the stages of the journey so that you can move through the transition, and you're feeling guilty because other people are telling you you shouldn't be feeling that way that you're feeling, you must honor how you're feeling. You must have compassion for yourself and meet yourself in the place where you are, and not go into the kind of learning resistances and the learning defiances where you refuse to accept or adjust. You have to embrace the learning, because healing is synonymous with learning. And when we embrace that learning, we begin to heal. And then you can really not just survive the change and the transition that you're going through, but jump into your new life. And trauma, for a lot of us, it's not just the really bad things that happen in life. Sometimes trauma is change. And when we're struggling to adjust to changes, even if other people think they're good changes and we should be happy, honor it. It's okay. It's okay even if you're a really successful entrepreneur who sold their business at the peak and made loads of money. It's okay to not be okay with it. It's okay to feel a bit depressed because you miss your business or you miss your old life. So change and transition has to be honored and dealt with in a particular way. And if you're feeling stuck and you're not sure how to do that, that is what we do in Naked Naked.Recovery. So I just wanted to share that, and I wish you all a great day.